Oh, do you also want us to introduce your full name?
Sure, yeah.
Like Hiroki Otsuka? Or do you want us to be Hiro Otsuka?
Hiroki Otsuka, yeah.
Is it your nichome name?
Hi, Tokyo Tops.
Hi, Tokyo Sluts.
Oh, yeah.
that's
I feel
a
like you're
good
speaking
choice.
to me.
Yeah, right?
I feel very seen.
Right.
Today we have a special guest with us, Hiroki Otsuka with us today. And he has just written the most fabulous manga that we have right here, and we want to talk about it today.
I actually really enjoy reading this.
I'm the author. I make manga comics and publish in Japan mainly, but I currently live in New York almost 20 years. Things like what I love to do is mostly making manga.
So you were born and raised in Tokyo, in Japan?
I was born in Shiga Prefecture,
Shiga.
yeah, which is right next to Kyoto.
Yeah.
So I speak Kansai accent. And then moved to Nagoya.
Why did you move to Nagoya? Boyfriend.
That time I had a girlfriend.
So it was a relationship though.
Last
Okay, yeah.
relationship
Yeah.
that I did art school.
Did you study manga at art school?
No, actually, that was kind of self-taught. So that was one of my dreams that I achieved to become a manga artist. Since when I was little, my two brothers, I have two brothers, I'm the youngest one. So they inspired me to chase my dream. And then when I moved to Nagoya, I started to self-publishing.
Oh, like dojinshi.
Dojinshi.
Oh, okay. Dojinshi, I always have a really like nasty.
Eloi.
Yeah, Eloi, nasty. They are? Okay, please send some my way after. I don't want to give too much away. There's this girl called Sachi.
Sachi.
She's kind of like disillusioned with life. She's not really necessarily she's in a rut.
Yeah.
She decides to go to New York to
Yeah.
chase her dream. Essentially, long story short, she gets like swindled and she has no money, and she stumbles upon a drag queen who sort of takes her in. She then makes dresses for the drag queen, Paul-san. Paul. In exchange for staying at his house, and it goes from there. It's a really cute story.
Thank you.
Is this BL? This is not BL though.
That's actually one of my questions.
Yeah.
I would say it's a shoujo manga,
I
but
think
with gay
I
characters
think
in
so.
it.
I think it's for women, right? You're writing it for women,
I
but
think
it's not
so.
BL.
Publisher was asking me to, we've been publishing a magazine for women.
Okay.
So that time I was like, okay, this is the idea that I've been working on, and if you are interested, I can just work, this series. So they were like, okay.
So was your experience some sort of like inspiration for Sachi's, which is the main character of the...
Yeah, Sachi is the main character.
Yeah, and was your experience also like reflect into the manga as like the element, like,
That's a
you
good
were
question.
chasing your art dream, you went
Right.
to New York, like
Yeah.
Sachi, she was chasing her designer's dream,
Right.
and she went to New York to explore something.
It's kind of similar because actually I was working as a manga artist already and publishing tons of comics in Japan. And then I felt like burned out. So like every month I have to draw 100 pages. So I was like, I'm gonna stop because, just like mental health. And then I decided to move to San Francisco first.
So not New York first,
No,
but
New
San
York
Francisco.
first, yeah.
Was it because
please
a lot
tell
of
me-
gay people?
Of course, yeah.
Please, I'm gonna talk to you. I'm going to San Francisco for work next week, so
Oh yeah.
can you please tell me where I should go to?
For some party.
But it's not September, right?
September, yeah. Yes.
Just
Wait, there is a
suck
party
some
called
dicks.
Foursome Party?
Not foursome, folsome. It's
Folsome.
like a leather. It's where everyone like goes naked in leather and walks
And
down
they
the
go
street.
on the street.
And then they
Yeah.
get like whipped and shit. And,
Yeah.
actually it was really funny because Cool Mint in the manga reminds me of a friend I have. And every time I read this, I'll show you a picture later. I swear it looks like Jericho. You should do a collaboration. If you ever need to do like a real
Okay.
live, this is what Cool Mint is.
Yeah.
Give Jericho. I
Okay.
can hook you up. But then who's gonna be Ken?
This is gonna be Ken.
Hot
Ken-
Go-Go Boy.
Ken is supposed to be half of the show.
Half.
Is he like a white and Asian half?
Oh my God, no,
like
you-
a Wasian?
I was thinking about Asian half.
Oh.
So like Korean, Japanese,
Korean,
kind of like.
Japanese, or Filipino and Japanese mystery. Yeah, he's straight. He's struggling making money and originally from Hawaii. He met Cool Mint on the street as a homeless. So that was a street please buy comic.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's supposedly straight. Yeah.
What does that mean, supposedly straight?
Because he
Don't
has
break
a cousin.
Sachi's heart. Sachi wants him. Because I actually think Paul would totally fuck Ken.
Oh yes.
Right?
Definitely.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd all
Yeah.
fuck Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sachi's all like, no, stop. But
Is
everyone's
he
like, get
really
it.
Japanese girl?
Who? Sachi?
Sachi.
Yes. There is a drama as well that's going on as well. That is actually one of the things that I noticed the difference.
Yeah.
Is I found that she was very Japanese in the drama. Everything was shocking to her. Everything
Yeah.
was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, oh my God, oh my God. It's a very Japanese depiction of like the innocent Japanese girl who doesn't know
Right.
anything. Whereas in the comics, I felt she was more of a strong, independent woman
Oh,
that was
yeah.
surprised. There's a little bit of innocence and naivety to her, but everything that happened to her, she kind of took on board and was like, yes, like this is hard or this is surprising, but I'm all down for it.
I mean, Sachi is just a reflection of me.
Oh my
Like,
God.
very
Oh my
innocent
God.
and
Oh
can
my
relate
God.
to her?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I can relate to her.
Yeah?
The first time I went to America, it was like very overwhelming. Like I was
Yeah.
very scared as well. I was
Yeah.
like 17 or
You're
16.
17 from China.
China, yeah. So directly, I didn't speak much English.
So you were nervous when you moved to LA and you don't know anybody and
I didn't know anyone. So
how
I
did
was,
you make friends.
well, there were lots of like Chinese international students. Oh, anyway,
okay.
that's like enough talking.
Was there a
about
Chinese?
that.
Was there a Chinese international drag queen which like took you
Yeah.
in and
No, but I did live with like host family. So it was kind of like I was under someone's roof, you
Right,
know.
right.
But definitely my host family was not as nice as Paul, you know. It would be
Okay.
amazing if I
Yeah.
had Paul with me. So
they weren't taking you to drag shows and showing you?
no.
Yeah.
But I would say like, you know, I share some sentiment as like Sachi because
Right.
she's also like, you know, maybe not super fluent with her English. You wrote the manga like she has no problem with the communication, but
I
it
know.
definitely
Yeah.
wasn't the real situation
Yeah,
for
yeah.
someone there.
But it was a good balance as well in how you tried to show, or you did show, like a New York America scene. You would put English in where you can, and like a basic level of English that
Right.
Japanese people would understand to create atmosphere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know the reason why I'm wearing this shirt? Because
Oh,
there are so
bitchy,
many
bitchy.
bitches.
Yeah, that's so true.
In the
Macaron.
manga. No, I just want to call everyone a bitch.
Yeah.
So Coolmet has a rival, Macaron. And every time they run into each other, they're all like, bitch, bitch.
Is that like what you experienced in New York?
Yes, bitch.
Yeah.
Everyone is like that.
When you go to bar, gay bars, so you make friends, you call each other, hey, bitch, girl, you know, yes, queen. So those my experiences reflect onto my comics. You know, I'm a huge fan of RuPaul's Drag Race. So those kind of underground scene became popular. So I wanted to use the influence kind of into my, you know, comics that nobody haven't seen.
I mean, I do feel the RuPaul elements in there, especially like the
Yeah.
drama being built through drag queens competing against each other,
Right.
right?
Is that like any other reasons that you wanna like include the drag element into your yeah.
Because drag queen is very interesting because you build on your character, use a character to perform. So it's like everybody has a different side of yourself. But we have kind of tendency to just block our, you know, true selves. So I want to use a drag queen to do something kind of unique in a way that you can express. Yeah.
Have you ever tried out drag by yourself?
No, but my husband had.
So wait, so you're married?
I'm married.
Your husband is American.
He's American. Yeah, he's American.
Did you go out to maybe ask like real drag queens
Yeah.
experiences to like, you know, how can you know it's like that? Like I would need some cultural
Oh.
references for
Yeah.
me to create.
Create characters. Actually,
Yeah.
I haven't talked to any drag queens. and
Okay.
I was hoping to make a friends with them. But I was like, once I was at the gay bar and I was so drunk and this drag queen in New York was so mean to me. So I started crying.
Oh no.
So that was PTSD.
So that's Macaron. You did get, you did get
Yeah.
inspiration. You're like, but there was another thing as well. Speaking of the drag, is
Yeah.
there was what's Mint's ex's name? John.
John, yeah, John.
I don't want to give too much away in the book, but essentially John is also going through a journey where he seemed to be ashamed of Mint
Yeah.
back in the day and drag and then eventually he kind of grows.
Yeah.
He starts learning the magic, I guess, of drag, and probably has some self-acceptance going on as well.
Right.
And that reminded me of even kind of me. Maybe not in the younger generation, but I think in our generation, I think a lot of people grow up and are exposed to drag. And a lot of people's idea of queer life and gay people is that everyone does drag. And everyone is a drag queen. Everyone wants to be a drag queen.
Right.
When you're young, trying to find yourself, it can be quite threatening, and like you're struggling with your own ideas of like femininity and like gender expression, all that stuff. It's a lot.
You kind of don't want to be associated
right?
with that.
Yeah. I think you have to go through that journey to accept yourself and accept drag. And I found myself doing that too. When I was younger, I wanted to separate. I'm not trashing BL, I love BL. But that's something that's commonly gay people argue is missing from BL, is real relatable gay stories. But I can actually see real relatable gay stories in your manga. And so I was,
happy. I've struggled tons of times in finding true, myself. And so I was like, let me just express those feelings that I was carrying on onto those characters. So I was like, oh, this is therapeutic to me, So this is the kind of journey for me too, to just like, learning, this is my kind of darkest moment and hold on to it. And then, okay, this is the time I have to release it. But it was so scary because you have to feel the fear.
You have to kind of like actually touch it in order to draw it and depict it and stuff like that.
Like, do you come back to Japan very often?
I try to, but after pandemic hit, then I was staying in New York for almost 3 years, and last October I came back here. I'm trying to come back here once a year at least.
Once a year.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the gay scene or the LGBT scene in Japan is like different from before?
Definitely, when I used to live in Tokyo, in Japan, then I think there's more acceptance for younger people to just express their sexual orientations.
I mean, what was it like 2002? Gay, Nichome, Arty Farty was probably there. Were you going to Arty Farty?
Yeah. One of my friend is sitting right there. Then I used to go.
Go to Dragon
You used to go
Way?
together. You used to go together.
Yeah. Boys, and he was kind of competitive.
You were like, kono bitchy, get him.
It's interesting because I feel like Nichome, well, I want to talk about it a little bit. It's kind of like, about the gay life here. Like, it's not as popular as before. Like, these days, everyone's on apps, right?
I know.
Like, I feel Nichome is still alive. It's not dead. There were more events and there were more people and people were more aggressive. I mean, in a good way, being like, hey, you look cute. Like, let's go get a drink or something.
Yeah.
I feel like that element of Nichome is gone.
You think so?
Maybe people just don't reach out to you anymore.
And ladies, don't let anybody tell you you are ever past your prime. Never give up.
I think we're kind of scared, or we don't want to get hurt. Definitely self-defense mechanism right there. It's easier to use apps, and then rather than just talking to say, hey, you're cute, and let's have a drink together.
Is it easier to use app? Because every time I'm like hi, and they're like hi, and that's enough. They stop at hi.
You're like, now back to the book. Back to the book. Oh my
Back
God,
to the book. I watched the TV drama. I watched like 10 minutes in. It's very different.
It is.
Is this like a multiverse version of this book or something? Because it's
Sachi in a different world.
Because,
Sachi, if she different timelines as if she didn't go to New York.
Okay.
Exactly, that's how I feel.
When Andrew sent me the file, he's like, I have the file. Please watch the show.
Yeah.
Before the interview. I was like, did you send me the wrong file?
Literally, he's like, what? I don't know what's going on. Like, why is this based in Japan? I thought she was in New York.
The producer wanted to shoot in New York, but there's a pandemic, and then they can't bring any actors. Everybody TV crews. Of course. So it's just like too risky. So we kind of talked through about how we gonna set up this as a TV show. So they say, what about Tokyo? I said, okay, so that sounds good. The show writers was so considering how I feel about bringing the stage to Tokyo from New York. I was like, that's fine, multi-universe.
That's amazing though that you made a comic and that it was turned also into a drama.
I know.
Yeah. How cool is that? Was this your first time to have something?
This is my first time, and I was like, I feel very fortunate. This is a biggest opportunity came to my life.
There's one thing though, which I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of comments on. Is it gonna be translated?
That's what I'm working. I'm working with my friend who knows publishers in America.
Okay.
So there's a lot of friends asking me how can I read, how can I
Yeah,
watch the show.
right.
I'm hoping that it's gonna translate into English, and then
Wait, the manga is not in English?
it's
It's in Japanese.
It's in
You read it in
Japanese.
Japanese. You
Wait,
read it
there's
in
no
Japanese.
English publisher. But I mean, you guys have been watching our show since like 2020. So at this point, you
You
probably
should learn
already passed
Japanese. Yeah,
Japanese N1. So
N1,
like, there's
yeah,
no
yeah.
excuse, right?
It is an easy read. There's not that many
Difficult.
difficult. Yeah.
Well, but we lived here for like
I know.
almost
Okay,
10 years. So
sure,
like,
okay,
almost
fine.
a year.
like I'm 8 years and he has been here for like 25 years. So.
25 years.
I've not been. I would look so good if I was here for 25 years. So guys, we'll leave all the links in the description. Check it out.
Is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon
Amazon.
Japan. Also, if you're in New York, go to Kinokuniya. They carry these comics at the store, so please.
Are you doing any events in New York or something to be like in the gay community to be like, hey, come
Hey,
read
girl.
my, hey girl, hey
Are you
bitch.
gonna make friends with some drag queen?
Yeah.
Maybe you should make friends with like drag queens in Tokyo because I feel people are nicer here.
Literally, you drew a drag queen based on a drag queen who lives here.
Oh,
Jerica. This is Jerica.
I
It's
wanna
like connected
do it.
Jerica.
It's not Jerica.
And it's so Jerica. I'm gonna show you.
Jerica.
It's so Jerica. But yeah, anyways.
Anyway, thank
Yes,
you.
we'll leave all the links in the description and let us know.
Thank you for watching until the end. Now you can access the first episode of Backstage in New York for free. Just head over to the description box below where you will find all the links you need. But that's not all. We have a special treat exclusive to our Patreon sugar daddies. You can win physical copies of Backstage in New York, personally signed by the talented Hiro-san. If you want to show your support and be part of our Patreon family, don't hesitate to join us. Together, we can continue creating amazing content.
That this year, 2023, I have been handpicked to MC the Mr. Gay Japan competition. It is happening on July 16th, Sunday, and they're planning to live stream some or most of the event on their YouTube and their Instagram. So if you have a moment, we'll post the link as well as the times that they're supposed to be starting the competition in the comments. We're looking forward to expanding the audience for the people overseas. Listen for my English translations of everything that's there. I will be very genki and I'll be very shiny, gay there. Check it out. See you later. Bye.